It's the Flyest Show on YouTube.
Carlos Watson.
Yeah.
Hey family, Carlos Watson here.
The most diverse lineup anywhere.
The former Secretary of State, but TikTok star, the stand-up comedy legend.
We could just get everybody together.
The new show everyone is talking about.
Agreed. That's officially my favorite.
Confidence is the key to success. Even when I was in the ghetto, I said, you know what, one day I'm gonna be successful.
What happened that made you millions of dollars and a successful music career?
I went to see Michael Jackson attorney and realized that Michael Jackson was getting 22% of record. The guy told me, what's the next big deal? I think the most important thing is just being there for him. You could get money back, but you can't get time back.
Take me back to those NBA camp tryouts.
I'm the greatest now that we on the court.
The Carlos Watson Show is brought to you by American Family Insurance.
Hey family, welcome to the Carlos Watson Show. Let's get right down to business because the one and only Master P is in the house. That's right, we got him here. He's coming up shortly. Also on the show today, we're going to feature the WW Wellness Impact Award winners, Ashley Carter and Jasmine Westbrooks, and their terrific organization. It's called the Eat Well Exchange. It's in the spotlight. Be sure to stay tuned for that. You don't want to miss it. But first, as promised, today's featured guest is many things. Rapper, actor, producer, entrepreneur, investor, and basketball player. And guess what? He's a master at them all. That's right, it's time for the main man himself. I'm talking about the legendary Master P. Take a look. Hey P, how you doing?
I'm good, how you doing?
Good, nice to see you.
Yes, sir.
Hey man, congratulations on your son. I saw the Tennessee State news, congratulations.
Thank you.
Now, were you surprised or did you know that's what he was gonna choose?
You know what, I was surprised.
And pleased that he chose it, or did you have another favorite in your heart?
Nah, to be honest with you, Boss, being from Louisiana, LSU seemed like a good fit, but he has to go to the school. So it was great. I was excited knowing that it was an HBCU and it's a Division I school. They done sent a lot of players to the NBA, so it all worked out.
How hands-on a dad are you?
I think it's all about spending time with kids and making sure that they know that you love them and you could get money back, but you can't get time back.
You find yourself critical or you tend to give them a little more room?
I give them room, but I want them to make their own decisions and choices, even their own mistakes, and learn from it. I think the most important thing is just being there for them and kind of like being on the sideline and showing them support.
Now, are you a different kind of dad with your daughter versus you are with your son?
It's knowing your team. That's what makes our family so unique. I know my team.
I really like it when you say it that way, knowing your team.
Dealing with my girls, I have to deal with them different. Dealing with the boys, I have to deal with them different. Sometimes it got to be tough love. Sometimes it has to be, let's push each other. But I think the most important thing that I teach everybody in my family, I teach them hard work. Like, you don't want nobody to give you nothing. All you want is opportunity. When kids just get whatever they want from their parents because their parents are successful, they normally gonna fail. And I think that was the greatest thing I was able to do with my kids, instead of just having nannies and stuff around, actually being in their lives and teaching them hard work. And I gotta show them that every day it's not gonna be perfect, but it's gonna be love in this house, and it's gonna be discipline. It's gonna be difficult times, but you have to trust the process.
If you body, we'll say you body. Make them say,
They holla how you do that day.
DC to the valley, we don't care. Y'all don't want step to this, huh? Boy, y'all don't want step to this.
B, what were you like as a kid?
I was an entrepreneur, cutting grass, carrying groceries for the elderly, making my little 25 cent, 50 cent. I lived with my grandparents. To go back and give my grandparents the little money that I made, working at the store, it just made me feel good. It never was about me. It always was about the family and trying to make it up out of this poverty. I understood sacrifice and I understood family as a young person. I think that was a good thing, and my grandparents also made sure that I went to church, and that's what I passed down from generation to generation. You got to know who God is, and nothing is going to fall out the sky. You got to be willing to put the work in.
When did you have confidence that things were going to work out?
Confidence is the key to success. A lot of people don't realize that if you don't believe, nobody else gonna believe. So you got to get up every day with that attitude that I'm the best. I'm gonna overcome this. Never speaking negativity on yourself. Even when I was in the ghetto having nothing, I said, you know what? One day I'm gonna be successful. A lot of people use negative words like I'm gonna die here, I can't make it out of here. I never thought that way. I've always said this is only temporary. Like it's something bigger for me.
And P, do you think that is because you were with grandparents or you were with older people that you had that country sense to you?
Yeah, that the older people, it wasn't about money. It's always about knowledge and wisdom. I start realizing that anything I do, I can't do it for money. I got to do it because I love it. I got to be passionate about it. And that's what they taught me. And I think that really built my confidence, knowing that I will be successful if I do something that I'm passionate about and I love. Older people are just going to give it to you raw. They're going to give it to you the truth, and especially the ones from the South. And that's why I always invest in the next generation. I feel like the elderly invested in me.
Be fearless! We can do it! I believe in you! We can do it faster!
The Our Home is the training ground for her dreams policy. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly.
When you broke through, when you look back at your success musically first, what happened that made you one of the very few people that ended up with hit records and millions of dollars in a successful music career?
I think it's education, me investing into myself. As a young kid, I went to see Michael Jackson attorney and realized that Michael Jackson was getting 22% of record. And I had to spend $25,000 with this guy to sit down and talk to him. And to realize that if Michael Jackson getting 22% of record, what's the next big deal? And the guy told me, he said, would be a distribution deal where you get 85% and a record company get 15%, but you're gonna need $200,000 marketing and promotion money. And this was in the 90s, so I had to go back to selling CDs and cassettes out the trunk of my car to raise that money to think I can get a deal of that magnitude. Once I got that information, even though that cost me $25,000, I made an investment that took me to Forbes Richest Under 40, and it's a lot of sacrifices that you have to make. It wasn't easy. We was the world's largest independent music company and Black owned, but it was a lot of hard work. And it was finding the right people, putting the right people in the place. So I think that people got to realize it's not all about you. It never just been about me. It's been about having a great team. And even to this day, getting into the product business and being able to put food product into stores is finding the right people and building and creating the right team. As I matured and start realizing that it's a higher power, and I start realizing if I put God first, the blessings will continue. I feel like I could bless more families. I could give more people opportunities. I could create more jobs, more revenue for our people. So it's a blessing, and I'm constantly growing, and I don't know everything. I want to have people around me that's going to push me. I'm going to push them. I tell people, trust the process. Life is like a seesaw. You go up and down. And you have to be prepared. You have to be strong mentally. You have to have a strong team. So I just thank God that I was able to diversify my portfolio. And where I'm at now, to take this to another level, to be able to feed more families.
P, who are some of the people that you've looked up to over the years?
I admire people like Muhammad Ali. When you look at like just business people, you know, I started reading this book, Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? I mean, this guy taught me a lot because what he'd been through in the 60s and the 70s to overcome and be a billionaire back then, that made me realize that it's possible. We have to think outside the box. And if we're gonna be able to build economic empowerment, we have to be able to see it from the other side too, not just from our standpoint. We got some of the top CEOs in the world going to space. Like, what are they going to space for? They know something we don't know. And guess what? It's no African-American people on those spaceships. It's like,
right.
You know, we got to start thinking 10 years and 20 years ahead. I want more Black folks to be able to come together in business and build economic empowerment We're probably one of the most spending cultures in the world, but we're not investing or saving or creating wealth. And that's the thing that I feel like when we start teaching financial literacy to our young people, we could bridge that gap.
And P, why do you think we have been more of a spending culture than an investing culture?
It's all about a lack of knowledge. We haven't been taught investments, stock market, how to create wealth. But we've been taught how to spend because we want nice things that we see. But other cultures, they have nice things too, but they create a business to go get those nice things. We just using the wealth that we have to spend. And that's why a lot of us only successful for a couple of years. When you look at as athletes, entertainers, it's a 3 to 5 year, and then it's back to square one. So that's why I've always looked up to the Reginald Lewis, the Muhammad Ali's.
You know, Reginald Lewis paid for my college, so I love that you said that. We were having trouble coming up with money for me to go to college, and I read about him in the Wall Street Journal. I saw a picture of a black man at the cover of the Wall Street Journal with the name of that book, and I found his address in the library, and I wrote to him. I wrote to a lot of people, and he was the one who wrote back and gave me a scholarship, which I know you've done for a lot of people as well.
I just love that journey to see us doing something the right way. The media don't celebrate that, which is a shame, because if it was something negative, this guy was getting in trouble, this would be everywhere. And I think those are barriers that we have to break. Like even with me, if my kids was going to prison, it'll be a big story. They're going to college, like, oh, okay, well, that's not sexy. That don't make good news media. That's where we have to break those stereotypes that they put on us. If we celebrate that more, we're gonna have more kids wanting to go to college. We're gonna have more kids wanting to do the right thing. And so that's just the path I'm on right now, saying.
I talked a while ago to Deion Sanders, and he was talking about the fact that on the outside, everybody saw prime time. On the inside, he was having a tough time. Michael Irvin, the playmaker, told me the same thing. Have you had anything similar in that way, or have you had a smoother ride than maybe those guys had?
I've had a great ride, but everybody deal with struggles and pains different. I lost people on the way, so it definitely make you think and put you in those places to where you gotta be on all the time, because kids wanna see you, business people wanna see you. And you don't get a chance to moan, you don't get a chance to hold your head down. People look at you to be the leader. You have to stay on, you have to try to be stronger for the rest of the family. And it's a blessing to be able to say that you got so many people depending on you, so you gotta do right, you gotta have integrity. If you look at Muhammad Ali, I mean, even the life he went through, even at the end when he got sick, he still was a strong man. You like, wow, I can't believe this guy actually coming up doing what he's doing with what he's going through, but it's the life he chose. And that's why people remember him.
Basketball is my favorite sport. I like the way they dribble up and down the court.
Hey, take me back to some of those NBA summer camp tryouts. I don't know if he still had a jump shot or not. I'm gonna let you tell me.
Come on, man.
All right. He was
That's
there.
what got me in there. Like,
well, you know, I had to see if you're paying attention. So now, what was it like?
It wasn't about basketball that got me sent home. It was my music. Charlotte was a Bible-built city, and I was probably one of the toughest guys on the team. I come to play every night. I could shoot the ball. I could play defense. I was probably one of the better players on that team. I played with Dale Curry, Steph Curry, Dad, and B.J. Armstrong, Anthony Mason, rest in peace, and Derek Coleman. And then I went to Toronto, played well, played with Charles Oakley. It was a tough team. I was the last cut on that team, and it was too much media on Vince Carter. I don't know if you guys look it up, but Vince Carter agent, Tank Black, had got in trouble. And so they didn't want no more other media by me, you know, being in the music. And they said, you know what, they just wanted to kind of like go under the radar. And I was the last cut. Nobody couldn't understand it. I was putting up buckets. Normally when you're the last cut, you'll be back. You know all the plays, you know everything. And I did it the right way. I did it with hard work. I mean, I could have played on both of those teams. What people don't realize, at the time, I owned a sports agency, No Limit Sports, and I had 2 of the top NBA players.
Who did you have at the time?
I had Derek Anderson, Ryan Mercer, Ricky Davis.
Most interesting thing you've learned about dreaming fearlessly?
The most interesting thing I learned is never a loss. It's always a lesson. So you got to keep going. It's not a race, it's a marathon. Like, you're just another number. Don't get caught up into who somebody is, even though I respect them. I got to be just as good. I can't back down from you because of who you are. And I know you put a lot of work into this, and I got to keep doing what I got to do to get better. And that's what I teach my kids. I say, if you want to be great like these guys, then you got to outwork everybody else. Put your trust and faith in God, and you can overcome and conquer anything.
AP, I want to finish up with a little rapid fire.
Yeah, go ahead.
Who's the greatest player that you ever personally played against?
Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant.
And how did you do?
Even though I know these guys are the greatest, I'm the greatest now that we on the court. You know, they laugh. They like, man, Pete, you got confidence. Like, you gonna go hard. I say, yeah. I mean, I don't care what your name. That's what I tell my kids. We don't look at names. We look at numbers when you're on the court.
What's your favorite movie of all time?
Coming to America.
I am very happy to be here.
If you could have dinner with anybody, dead or alive, who would you love to have dinner with?
Bill Gates. I just think I would like to pick his brain.
Most beautiful place you've ever been?
New Orleans. Ain't no place like it.
Most interesting thing you've learned in this life about love?
You can't buy it, and you gotta love yourself if you want other people to love you.
Hey man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Okay, be safe.
You too.
Hey, really hope you enjoyed that conversation with Master P. I love hearing about his grandparents and how they raised him and what he took away from that. Love hearing about his hustle and grind, and love the kind of father that he is and how he kind of thinks about that. Love all of that. Really appreciate him. All right, listen, we're going to go ahead and shift gears from one business person to 2. Ashley Carter and Jasmine Westbrooks are here to talk about their amazing nonprofit. It's called the Eat Well Exchange, and how they're helping underserved communities and communities of color gain access to healthy food and education on nutrition. Now, they were 2 of the winners of the WW Wellness Impact Award. They're here today to share their story in our Spotlight segment. I hope you enjoy. Hey, Jasmine. Hey, Ashley.
Hi.
How are you both?
Good. Great.
Where are you?
In Miami, Florida.
And I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Both are places I love. How did you guys decide to start Eat Well together?
One day we were just talking about where we worked and how we saw a specific problem that was happening, especially among people of color that came in. And we're like, a nonprofit that focuses on culture. Like, that is brilliant. Like, somebody write that down. Let's brainstorm. We literally spent like a whole night in a restaurant brainstorming this idea of what Eat Well Exchange could be. And then like maybe 2 weeks later, I ended up meeting someone. He was a pharmacist from Montego Bay. And so I told Ashley, because he was like, I want you guys to come and teach us about healthy food and how to make our food healthy and things like that.
She's like, oh my God, they want our nonprofit. And I'm like, we don't have a nonprofit, Jazz.
But you know what? I like the way Jazz thinks, because you need someone, Ashley, you know what I mean? You need those friends that kind of like push it a little bit further, or like, yeah, we're invited to that party. I don't think we're invited to that party. Now we are. Congratulations for winning the WW Wellness Impact Award. How did you hear about it? What inspired you to even apply for it?
We received an email that we had been recommended to apply. And so we applied for that grant, and we ended up going through all the way, winning that grant. And we're excited to really implement some amazing things and amazing impact in the future.
I should be a healthier eater. And I'm probably like a lot of people that when I hear healthy food, I'm not really immediately sure that's for me. But I know it should be, but I may be hesitant.
Think about the foods that you grew up eating. So things that my grandma had in the kitchen, like rutabagas, that's a healthy food. Collard greens, that's a healthy food. There's a lot of foods that we grew up, foods that are on our tables that are healthy. So a lot of times what happens is, When we think about healthy food, we think of all these massaged kales and all these other crazy things that we can't relate to. So what does that mean? Healthy eating then becomes non-relatable. So we try to just think about foods, make it simple, think about what grows on the earth, think about things you enjoy. And those are the foods that are healthy for you.
Ashley, talk a little bit, if you would, about the cultural elements that led you to start Eat Well.
It's impossible to talk about food and separate it from our culture. So when it comes to Eat Well Exchange, that was a big founding point for us, that we want to discuss food. We want you to be healthy. We want you to live a great long life. But we also want to be able to maintain the culture that you grew up with and the traditions you grew up with consuming your foods. The types of foods that we were eating, the habits that we had ultimately led to them having negative health issues. So we decided with Eat Well Exchange, our culture is important, our tradition's important, but yes, we have to do something about it to make small changes so that way we can live long, enjoy our foods, and also maintain our culture as well.
Jazz, do you find that people are listening, and Black people in particular, do you feel like people are want to and are able to change habits and norms even in small ways, as Ashley is saying?
I definitely believe that. And I think it's funny because when we walk in a room and they see that we're Black dietitians, automatically it's like that rapport where there's a light up in their face and they're like, oh my gosh, I've never met a Black dietitian before. So I do think it builds a rapport. And what I love about what we're doing with Eat Well Exchange and the different communities we're serving is the fact that we can connect with them because we see ourselves in them.
What would make you smile 5 years, 10 years from now with Eat Well?
For us to just continue to make shifts nationally and internationally. We really like to focus on just creating hubs in different cities where we work with community partners. We work with organizations, churches, whoever we can get a hold of, and just create this hub there where we're going to create healthy, sustainable living. So that way it's continuing through the community, through generations, where healthy foods being coming into the community, education's coming into the community, gardening, cooking classes. At this moment, trying to create healthy hubs in different cities as like starting points for this talk of nutrition, education, and change.
I so love that. Thank you both so much for joining me. I love meeting you.
Thank you.
Hey, big thanks to Ashley and Jasmine, all the good work that they're doing with the Eat Well Exchange, and of course, everyone at WW. Hey, like that, we're out of time, but not for long. Got another great original show every single weekday right here on The Carlos Watson Show. Be safe, be well. We'll see you on the other side.